Right, so this video is about journaling. Um, Currently, I have two books that I journal in. I used to have about four books. There's this one book that it wasn't really journaling, it was more about um, completing tasks during the day, but I found that to be a little bit too much. And then I also dabbled a little bit in gratitude journaling, but I didn't really find a lot of value in that. I found myself kind of dreading um, gratitude journaling, which I think that might be the point where you want to do it. You want to do it. You need to do it when you don't want to, but I decided to just stick to those two. The first one that you see right here um, is a reflections journal. This is where I write stuff that happened throughout the day. Like, how was your day? How did this affect you? How did you feel? All of this stuff. And the second one, this larger one, I just hit my monitor. Oh no. Um, this second one is lessons. A lesson that I learned through the day. So it might not be a lesson that I learned that day, which I mean right now, it's not even just like lessons that I learned that day, but it's a lesson that I've learned throughout life, right? So let me open up to yesterday. If I can even. This one's a little bit. This one is yesterday, right? So, yesterday, day 267, challenge yourself. That is the lesson of yesterday, right? Give yourself a task to do something you know you'll have to pay considerable, but not an intolerable amount of attention to. Not too hard, but enough that you'll have to put some work for it. And then do it. So, pretty much, I just write stuff like that, like just a lesson that I learned that day. And these are the various journals that I've written, right? Front to back, these ones, right? These are the reflections ones. So, not to like boast or anything, but just, front and back. And then these two other ones, these larger ones, are the lessons journal. This is the first one. I started this one October 23rd. And then this is the second one, right? So, well, you can't really see that, but you see I have some stuff written. It's not front to back, it's every other page, but I find that it's very valuable. So, really, I wasn't, like me personally, this is my story. I've always been a big writer. There wasn't really a time where I was like, oh, I hate writing, I hate this, I hate that. I actually loved writing since I was little. I think it was seventh grade when I had the skills, enough skills to actually write like large sort of paragraphs. I remember even back in like second grade, whenever they would tell us to do like a summary of a book, I would always not write a summary. I would write these like long things, but I would do them every once in a blue moon, right? So it took a lot of power from me, but I would do them. I would love to just how would I describe it? To overachieve, to just kind of go above and beyond with writing, with these sort of things. And then seventh grade was really when this is when I was 12, turning 13. Is when I had enough vocabulary and enough grammatical knowledge to construct a reasonably understandable sentence or paragraph, a string of words, something comprehensible, I guess is what I would say, right? So I was always a big writer, and I'd always love to just write about things, not only just about like my day or some of the things that affected me, but also just about things, topics that really interest me. Right, when I had my whole political political phase. When I had my whole political phase, I would write these like large things, and I would script out my videos, and yeah, I would read that, and yeah, I got some views here and there. And then that transitioned into this because I realized, yeah, I'm good at writing. I'm good at expressing myself through words, right? Through a pen and a pencil. So why not do something that really benefits me? And so I started journaling October 23rd, 2022, and I haven't stopped since then, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Well, my lessons journal, I'm going to go through day 365. I'm day 267, I think is what I said. I'm kind of there. I'm kind of close. I need like about 100 more days. I might go to day 400 just to see if I can. But after that, I'm planning to compile all of this information into some sort of like book. But that's going to take like a year to write. Another year than this. But journaling, easily described, is taking a pen and a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper and writing about whatever you want, right? And that could be journaling. It could be about your day. It could be about somebody else, like what they did to you and how you felt about it. Really, it's just a reflection, an introspection into you and yourself and how you're feeling and who you are. It could also be about the things that you have learned. The thing about journaling is that there's a lot of like self involved in it. There's a lot about like you, like what are the lessons that you learned, or how do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about this other person, right? It could also be that you could be writing about another person, right? Maybe you might be doing a character analysis on one of your friends. I know, you call me weird, but I've done it sometimes. I'm kind of bored and I'm like, hey, let's, character analysis on one of my friends, and it ends up kind of being pretty fun because then you write all these things out and you see them and they happen in real life and you're like, yeah, I wrote about that, but I think that's just weird to me. But that's journaling in a very the very blunt definition of it, just taking a pen or a pencil, writing down on a piece of paper. Now, why journal? Right? That's the question, right? The how is already kind of taken care of. Take a pen or a pencil, take a journal or a piece of paper, and just write about your day, right? Or write about a lesson, convert your day into a lesson, right? But why journal? Journaling takes the load off, I find. Journaling is one of those things where you can just sit down at the end of the day and you can just, it's kind of like somebody who you can just spill your guts out to, in a way. You can just sit down, relax, and just write about your day. Or just talk about your day, right? Another form of journaling could also be sitting down and recording a video like this. You're still journaling something, because I guess the way that you could think about it is that journaling isn't really just like a physical thing. It's not just like taking a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper and writing something down. It could also be cataloging, that's the word, right? Cataloging a piece of information. But why do this? Well, I mean, first, it takes the load off, right? Second, it's very stress relieving, right? I find that at the end of the day, I have like a lot of like buzzing thoughts in my head, right? I have like, this and that, there's a voice over here, there's something over there, there's something that I did like 10 years ago over here, and I write about it, right? I just open up my journal to whatever day, and I'm like, this happened and that, and I feel like this and I feel like that. The page that I opened up to was pretty much just that. Yeah, but journaling is where you can piece together your thoughts where you could, where you can just kind of center yourself and just take like 5-10 minutes of your day and just think concise thoughts. You can just detail your day. Like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And you can go a step deeper, not just tell the book, I feel like this, but why do you feel like it? For example, right? Somebody says something to you. For example, like, oh, you're ugly or whatever. Like, you're out in the street, somebody says you're ugly, and that makes you feel kind of bad. But why does it make you feel kind of bad? Why does it make you sad? Why does it make you angry? Right? Why does it make you sad? Maybe you have some insecurities in yourself. Maybe you do perceive yourself as kind of ugly. And that person just kind of reaffirmed this belief inside of you. But why do you have this belief inside of you? Why do you believe that you are ugly? Is it because you've been told that your whole life? Or is it because you actually have some things that you have to work on? If it's the first, then that's something that you can work on. That's something that you can just say, like, no, I'm not ugly. I'm actually not that bad looking, right? Or two, you could say, yeah, I have some things to work on. What can I do to improve? Start going to the gym, drink more water, eat healthier, just be more knowledgeable, right? Because it's not only just about physical appearance, but it's also about who you are as a person. That could be one of the roots. Just kind of like unroot those insecurities inside of you. And if somebody says that you're ugly and you don't care, then you don't care, right? But that could also be an opportunity, right? If this person is just a random person, you could say that person probably has something going on in their life, right? This could be one of the routes that you can take. Kind of going into a little bit of like not gratitude journaling, but just emotionally reconciling with that person and recognizing that there might be something going on. Well, mostly 9 times out of 10, there is something going on in that person's life that made them say that to you. Because it's not every day that you find somebody that's actually mean in character-wise. Something provokes them to say that. And so you could find that compassion within you and say, well, I love this person, right? And whatever is going on in their life, you hope that they find a solution to whatever is happening in their life, right? And you say that you love them and, move on. You can do the same if a friend tells you something that's out of pocket and you're kind of thinking they're like, why did he say that, right? You're writing down, so-and-so said this to me today and I don't know how to feel about it. He's usually not like this. And so you kind of detail, right, who he is as a person, right? He's kind, he's loving, he's charming, all of this stuff. And then he said this one thing that was out of pocket. Why did he say that? What could it be? There could be something happening in his life, right? And then from that moment, you could be writing in your journals, outlining steps, right? How can I find out what is happening in his life? 1, talk to him. Ask him if he's okay, right? 2, talk to him about any problems or whatnot if he opens up to you, right? 3, if he doesn't open up to you and says nothing's wrong, love him and just kind of, not push him away, but kind of just have him at a distance like that, right? Maybe he doesn't want to open up at that moment, or just doesn't want to open up in general because of other problems that happen in his life. But those are some of the paths that you can take if somebody said something that was bad, that you felt bad about it, or that you were confused about, right? And this is all just by journaling, and this is just by outlining one specific situation, 2 words. You're ugly can turn into a whole life of self-betterment for that other person, because instead of taking it at face value and saying, oh, you're ugly too, I'm not ugly, you could be like, what's wrong? 2 words afterwards. You can either say it immediately like that, or you could come home and then you can journal about it and almost kind of write him a letter, right? Saying like, what's wrong? I know that you said this and that, and me personally, I don't feel like I'm ugly, but there might be something going on in your life. Why did you say that to me, right? And of course, you have to kind of be forgiving of that person. I mean, that's what I've found out with this whole journaling thing, right? That's one of the things that you can do with journaling. So yeah, first is rooting out this deep insecurity inside of yourself, and the second one is kind of helping others root out their own deep insecurities. And then another thing is, the lessons, right? You can take a day as a lesson. Something really bad happens to you, right? Let's say, I'm trying to think of a situation. You lost your car keys, right? And you couldn't go out with your friends, right? And you have been planning this for about a week, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there, and everything, and they're already there. They're texting you, hey, where are you? And you can't find your keys, and you don't have anybody else to pick you up, right? Because they're all the way over there, and you're all the way over here, and then you have to cancel, and then you're just there at home. I outlined this in my previous video of I outlined in this thing, my previous video. Things happen to us for a reason, but we don't know why, right? And the whole thing was just kind of a step-by-step process of bad things that happened in your life, and what did you do soon afterwards. Now, you can take this situation, right? This bad situation that happened to you back in the past. This is just like a quick summary. You can go back to the previous video of what is self-improvement, and you can find the method there. But you take events in your life that bad things happened, and then what did you do afterwards? And then another bad event, what happened afterwards, all the way up to this moment right now. To the moment where you are watching a video of a guy with 500 subscribers outlining a method on how to improve your life, right? Or you're watching another YouTuber and you got a lot of inspiration from. Or you're in a better position than you were when that bad event happened. So these little bad events carve the way to where you are right now. If these bad events never happened, you wouldn't be over here. That is basically what I'm trying to say. And so you can do that with a piece of paper. You can do that type of journaling. But the second way that you can do it is by just journaling your day, right? And kind of just doing that within. Just kind of like compiling all of your bad events and what happened. Just kind of going into detail. How you felt. Why you felt. All that. Kind of like a chronicle. Almost like a chronicle. Chronicalizing all of your bad events. And then just finding what you can learn from it. Like I remember back in October, I had a really bad day. I mean, that day before that I started journaling, October 23rd, was a really bad day for me. And I turned that day into a lesson. Because in that really bad day, I found it really hard to control my emotions. And that is lesson number 1, which is control your emotions. And I outlined my day of what happened. At that point, I was kind of mixing my my lessons journal with like a reflections journal, but luckily I split them up because I plan to just kind of compile all of the lessons into like one single thing. But I outlined my day and I found a lesson at the end of it. Right? All these little like bad little things that happened. And at the end of it I'm like, I should have more control over my emotions. That is a lesson that I need to learn. Right? I need to have more control over my emotions or else I'm going to hurt somebody or going to hurt myself. So that is what you can do by outlining all these little bad events and just talking about them in your book, in your journal, right? Just writing them out. You can find out what you need to learn from it. And yeah, I mean, that's a slight introduction to journaling. Yeah. The way that you can start is by just going to the store and just picking up. It doesn't have to be like these little like fancy things that I get. Um, I get those fancy things because I like how they look and everything. I just recently got this one, right? I got these two new ones, right? Because I'm gonna finish the other ones. I got this one and it has like a little half moon, like a little crescent, and then I got this one, noteworthy. That's what it says, right? This one is the lessons one. This is the reflections one. So I kind of went for like a reverse thing where the reflections one is bigger and the lessons one is a little bit smaller. What you can do, an active step that you can do, like what you can do right now, just go to the store, pick up something cheap. It doesn't have to be fancy like that. But if you want it, if you want to have it fancy like that, you can. I'm not opposed to it. But just get a journal, something simple, something nice, whatever writing utensil you have at home. If you don't have any, then go pick up a pencil or something, or a pen if you like to write more with pen. But if you have a writing utensil, there's no need to get any other writing utensils unless you want to kind of like fresh start a little bit. But just, or even if you have like a piece of paper at home, right? If you really want to do this right now, just get a piece of paper and just start writing about your day, or start writing about how you feel at the moment. And that's literally it. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. So, yeah. Go journal because it's a very, very valuable thing. It's very valuable to know how to write. Not a lot of people know how to write. I would actually get kind of a little bit infuriated whenever people just got mad because they had to write. Like, I would be in class and it's like, oh, writing time and everything. That would be my favorite time, right? And then there's some people that just dread it. And I'm like, you don't know what you're missing out on, right? I found out so many things by just journaling. So many things about myself. So many like these little like insecurities that I have. I've worked through them through journaling. And a lot of the things that other people do as well. I've made several decisions. What is in my hair? Several decisions about interpersonal relationships through just journaling because I outlined them, right? I in the beginning of this video I said something about character analysis of like friends and whatnot, and that's what I would do. I would do little character analyses about the people in my life. And that's another lesson that I learned over here, right? Be wary of the people that you hang out with. If you've heard the saying, the 5 people, you're the average of the 5 people that you most hang out with. I started to realize that some of the people that I was hanging out with weren't the best people. And so that's what I did in my journaling. It was very private. I never told anybody about it until I decided that it was time to talk about it with somebody else. At first, I kept it private to myself. And this is the great thing about journaling, right? Is the privacy that you get from it. You can write about anything and not fear being judged. So I wrote about this, these thoughts, these feelings that I had, and the things that I was observing from these other people that I was hanging out with. And that's really how I made a lot of decisions in my life, right? Just working them out through like week-long entries. Yeah, like week-long journalings, right? I wouldn't just say one day and just say like, oh, I don't like this person. I would write about it for several days. I would be with that person. I would actively listen and analyze them and look at them and talk to them, have fun with them. And then at the end of the day, I would be like, yeah, so this and this and that happened. And that's how I would make my decisions. I would write about them. I would wait a week or sometimes even more, right? Sometimes I would lay back and I would be like, maybe I'm making a wrong decision. But then months later, I would return back to it and I'm like, okay, it's good that I took those precautions, right? Because I wrote about it and I'm like, I'm going to take some precautions right now just in case anything happens. And it's not too much that I have to kind of like redo the whole friendship thing, but it's also not too little to the point where they feel the little pushback, a little bit like distance. But sometimes distancing yourself is good, but that's a lesson for another day. But that's one of the methods that I do with journaling with people and friends that I talk to and everything. But yeah, journal. Go out there, get a piece of paper, pen or a pencil, and just start writing. Right.